I'm Tom from DIY Life Tech, and I'm super excited to share that yesterday I got access to DALL-E from OpenAI, which I've been waiting for literally since I heard about DALL-E existing. I think I was one of the first people on the wait list to get access. It's very exclusive. They're reasonably limiting the number of people that can get access to the system because it could potentially cause a lot of damage in the wrong hands. So I totally respect that, and I was super excited to get my invitation late last night and to start using DALL-E. And I wanted to share my experiences from the first day. I'm going to do so much more with this system. I'm so excited to continue to test it, but I want to show a couple of the things I've done so far. So if you're not aware of DALL-E, it's an AI platform that OpenAI trained on millions, maybe billions of images. And basically what it is able to do is what GPT-3 did for text, it can do for pictures. And essentially what that means is you can type in a description of an image, of anything you can come up with in any style, and it will create that image for you in usually about 10 to 15 seconds. So here's a couple of examples from their page. This is the prompt: 3D render of a cute tropical fish in an aquarium on a dark blue background, digital art. And here's what it creates. This is indeed that. And you can see all different styles you can do here: photorealistic things, crazy things, a photo of a teddy bear on a skateboard in Times Square, and boom, it'll generate that for you. So there's a lot of cool practical applications. A lot of this is more like NFT-ish, I would say, but I'm more interested or excited about the artistic applications and the practical applications of this technology. So I want to share a couple of things again that I did in my first day using DALL-E. So I personally have a photographic memory. I can remember pretty much any place I've ever been, almost anything I've ever seen. It's kind of a cool capability, but I'm a very bad illustrator. I can't draw anything. So I can imagine it, I can see anything I've ever seen before pretty much, but putting that down on a page is almost impossible for me. And one of the cool things I thought I would try with DALL-E is, can I take an image that I've got in my brain, describe it in sufficient detail that DALL-E will create it for me, and then choose. You get multiple renderings of the image, pick and choose which one is closest to my reality, my remembrance of that scene. So I remember that my dog Lance had sat on a floral settee in my house next to a window, so I decided to describe that and see if DALL-E could indeed generate it for me. So this is my first attempt: photorealistic Bichon Frise sitting on a floral settee by a window with a puppy cut. That describes the scene that I had in my brain. It gave me a bunch of options. This was the closest. This is pretty realistic. I mean, it's not perfect. You can see some weirdness on the Bichon's nose, some weirdness along here. It looks a little bit like cartoony and strange, but overall, for something that it generated from literally just these words, that's pretty awesome. And this is, again, just completely created. This never existed. It's created by the AI system there. And I tried to tweak it a little bit and select some different ones, again, going by that image I had in my head of the scene I remembered. And this is another one that I think is even closer to what I was remembering. And then I realized actually I had taken a photo that was very much like what I had remembered and was trying to recreate here with DALL-E. And the difference between this one, by the way, this is just a floral settee. Here I added the word wide, and that made it a wider, almost like a couch. So amazing what it can do to change an image, just to add one extra word. But I actually went back and I looked through my camera, and sure enough, I had taken a photo of that scene. And this is my real dog. This is the scene I had remembered in my brain. My real dog, Lance, sitting on a floral settee by the window. So let's compare. This was DALL-E's recreation of that scene based on my memory, my description of it. Here's the scene I was actually remembering, pretty close to what I had in my brain. And you can see it's pretty amazing. This is its rendering of that based on my description. This is what I was thinking about pretty much when I described that. And it basically took the picture that was in my head that I remembered having seen in reality and created something very, very similar to it. We've got the floral print pretty good there. It's actually very close to my real settee. The design there, the trees in the background, which I've got in the actual shot, and again, None of that, it wasn't looking at this photo, it was literally just going based on my description, and then I looked through the results and found the one closest to my memory. And it basically took that picture in my head and turned it into something that's pretty darn close to the original here. My dog is not as clean looking as that dog, but you know, overall pretty awesome. So I love that as a photographer, as a person, again, with a photographic memory. I can think of a scene I saw, I can describe it in sufficient detail, and it will actually, DALL-E will actually create it from my description, give me the opportunity to filter down and choose the one that's closest to what I remember, and then boom, there it is. Compare that to the actual scene that I was thinking about, and it's very close. So very cool. I'm looking forward to experimenting more with taking those remembrances or things that I know I've seen, and even if there isn't a photograph of it, getting DALL-E to create one for me out of that kind of image in my head using just a description. Very cool, very neat initial direction with DALL-E. Another thing that I tried to do in that same vein was to think about a place that I had been to, and in this case it's the golf course in Half Moon Bay next to the Ritz-Carlton Half Moon Bay, and describe the scene there that I remember where I don't have a photograph of it, and see if DALL-E could create something again from that description I had in my head. So this is a golf green with a flag on a cliff overlooking the ocean at dusk, seen from just behind the green. My recollection of being in that physical place in Half Moon Bay. This is the rendering that it created. And again, I don't have a photo of that one. It lives entirely in my head, but this is a photo I took in the same place and in Half Moon Bay, and you can see it really got the vibe, and it really did take what I had in my head there of this vision of walking through that golf course and create something that's basically exactly what I had in my head. So pretty awesome. Again, totally without a reference photo at all. It's just my recollection. The closest reference is this, which, you know, gives you the vibe, the cliffs, the space. This is a different time of day, but you can see if you haven't been there yourself how close this is to the actual look of that place. So again, very cool to be able to take those ideas, those concepts that I remember, and create actual images out of them using this AI platform. Also, though, I wanted to have some fun with DALL-E on my first day with it, so I tried a couple of things. I have a washing machine and dryer that communicate with each other via AI. So they measure the clothes, for example, and then the washer will actually communicate to the dryer what kinds of fabrics were in it, and that tells the dryer how to dry those. So it's a really cool system. It's from LG and really high tech, but it kind of has always made me think, well, they're kind of friends, like they're sharing with each other. I like that my washer and dryer are friends with each other. So I decided to see if DALL-E could create a image of a washing machine and dryer who are friends. And in fact, here they are. The dryer's on the right, just like mine. The washer's on the left. They're having a little conversation. It seems like maybe they're disagreeing, or this one's sad. This one's kind of talking to the washer, maybe comforting it, or at least expressing concern. So you can see that they are friends. This one's helping this one out, just like my own washer and dryer. I hope these two are friends here. And this is, again, I decided to make this an illustration. I guess I didn't think it could create a photorealistic image of a washer and dryer who are friends. And I like that they've got sort of eyes, or a little bit personified. This one seems like it has a face. All stuff that it just decided to create to convey that concept of these two appliances being friends with each other. And I love that. It's generative. It's creating new ideas that make sense in the context, and even choosing the style that it's going to create this image in. So there you go, washing machine and dryer who are friends. The final one that I want to show that I did on my first day with DALL-E, open this up a little bit. I asked my former boss, Megan Marone, who I think would come up with a good prompt to tell me something to have DALL-E generate. Her prompt was a squirrel eating my internet. Again, this is why I ask her for these kinds of things. And I put that into DALL-E, and in fact, it generated this lovely image of a squirrel eating Megan's internet, or somebody's internet in any case. I love that the squirrel is very realistic. It's a close-up here. And then this is apparently what DALL-E thinks the internet looks like, or at least what Megan's internet looks like. It's sort of a mashup of a router and an iPhone, I think. It's got this weird wire coming off there. Maybe that's a Wi-Fi antenna. I'm not exactly sure. And then we've got like a 1.5 millimeter headphone jack, of course, because the internet needs to have that on there. And the squirrel is indeed eating the internet there. I'm not sure what this is. Maybe it's up in a tree. The squirrel kind of took this and the internet, Megan's internet, up in the tree to eat it, which makes sense. You know, it's what squirrels would do if they were eating the internet. And this is a very cutting edge, very useful application of this technology, of course, to generate images of the squirrel eating the internet. I think this is what OpenAI probably had in mind when they probably spent millions of dollars creating this tool. So very cool, very fun stuff. I had some fun with it with the squirrel eating the internet. Thanks to Megan for sending that prompt. I had some fun creating my friendly washing machine and dryer. But what I see is really the coolest application for a photographer like me, or for anybody who has that ability to visualize, but not necessarily to put those visual ideas in their head down on paper. If you can describe it accurately enough and then choose from the options that OpenAI's DALL-E gives you, you can actually use it to create an image very much like what you've got in your head and to share that. And that could be a remembrance of a place. This really evokes that place to me. It can be a remembrance of a specific scene, which you can see is very close to the real scene I was recalling. I didn't look at this photo before I wrote my prompt. I just found it after the fact. So I just happened to have actually taken a photo in that instance. And so you can see it's very close to what I was trying to imagine in my head. And I think that's a really cool capability, but also you could imagine a new place or a new thing that doesn't exist and describe it and have OpenAI's DALL-E generate it for you. So I'm excited to pursue that further. I'm excited to generate more weird, interesting, bizarre things. I'm excited to experiment with using it to create different artistic styles. If you have any prompts you want me to run, please do put those in the comments, and I'm happy to include them in a future video. Subscribe, follow the channel here, and I'll share more of my experiments with DALL-E.